Hi, kids. The connection with the internet has not been good, so I thought I would read you a little book for bedtime. I found this out in the hallway in their library books. Read aloud classics, 10-minute readings from the world's best loved children's books. Anyway, I thought you might like it. This one is a chapter out of the book called Tales of the Fourth Grade Nothing. And it's by Judy Blume, and it gives a little synopsis of what's going on. It's a book. Up until this point, it says Peter Hatcher is being driven crazy by his 2-year-old little brother, Fudge. One day, Peter and his friend Jimmy find Sheila, a know-it-all, on their special rocks. Peter's mother asks Sheila, Peter, and Jimmy to watch Fudge for 10 minutes. As soon as she leaves, the babysitting troubles begin. Chapter 4. My Brother and the Bird. One nice sunny afternoon, I called for Jimmy Fargo and went to the park. Jimmy is the only kid on my block who's in my class at school, unless you count Sheila, and I don't. She lives in my building on the 10th floor. Henry, the elevator operator, is always making jokes about me and Sheila. He thinks we like each other. The truth is, I can't stand her. She's a real know-it-all. But I've discovered that most girls are. The worst thing about Sheila is the way she's always trying to touch me. And when she yells, Peter's got cooties, I don't believe in cooties anymore. When I was in 2nd grade, I used to examine myself to see if I had them, but I never found any. And by 4th grade, most kids gave up on cooties, but not Sheila. She's still going strong. So I have to keep a safe distance from her. My mother thinks Sheila's the greatest. She's so smart, my mother says, and someday she's going to be a real beauty. Now, that's the funniest because Sheila looks a lot like the monkeys that Fudge is crazy about. So maybe she'll look like some beautiful ape. But never to me. Me and Jimmy have this special group of rocks where we like to play when we're in the park. We play secret agent up there. Jimmy can imitate all kinds of foreign accents, probably because his father's a part-time actor. But when he's not acting, he teaches a class at the city college. Me and Jimmy have this special group of rocks we like to play. Oops, I already read that part. Today when we got up on our rocks, who should be perched up there but Sheila? She was pretending to read a book, but I think she was just waiting for me and Jimmy to find out what we'd do when we found her on our special rocks. Hey, Sheila, I said, those are our rocks. Says who? She asked. Come on, Sheila, Jimmy said, climbing up. You know me and Peter hang out here. Too bad for you, Sheila said. Oh, Sheila, I shouted, go and find yourself another rock. I like this one, she said, as if she owned the park. So why don't you two go and find another rock? Just then, who should come tearing down the path but Fudge? My mother was right behind him, hollering, Fudgy, wait for Mommy! But when Fudge gets going, he doesn't wait for anybody. He was after some pigeons. Birdie, here, Birdie, he called. That brother of mine loves birds, but he can't get it through his head that birds aren't about to let him catch them. Hi, Mom, I said. My mother stopped running. Peter, I'm glad to see you. I can't keep up with Fudge. Mrs. Hatcher, Sheila called, scrambling down from her rock. I'll watch Fudge for you. I'll take very good care of him. Can I, Mrs. Hatcher? Oh, please. Sheila jumped up and down and begged some more. Jimmy gave me an elbow in the ribs. He thought that my mother would let Sheila watch Fudge, and then we'd be rid of her. We'd be free to play secret agent. But Jimmy didn't know my mother would never trust Sheila with her dear little boy. Fudge, in the meantime, was screaming, Come back, birdies! Come back to Fudgy! I'm yawning. And then my mother did a strange thing. She checked her watch and said, You know, I do have to run back to the apartment. I forgot to turn on the oven. Do you really think Cookie can keep an eye on Fudge for 10 minutes? Of course I can, Mrs. Hatcher, Sheila said. I know all about babysitting from my sister. Sheila's sister Libby is in 7th grade, and she's about as beautiful as Sheila. The only difference is she's bigger. My mother hesitated. I don't know, she said. I've never left Fudge before. She looked at me. Peter? What? Will you and Jimmy help Sheila watch Fudge while I run home for a minute? Oh, Mom, do we have to? Please, Peter, I'll be right back. I'll feel better if all three of you are watching him. What did you say? I asked Jimmy. Sure, he answered. Why not? But I'm in charge of Fudgy, aren't I? Sheila asked my mother. Well, I guess so, said Mother to Sheila. You probably do know more about babysitting. Why don't you all take Fudge over to the playground? Then I'll know where to find you. Swell, Mrs. Hatcher, Sheila said. Don't you worry. Fudgy will be just fine. His mother turned to Fudge. My mother turned to Fudge. Now you be a good boy for 10 minutes. Mommy will be right back, okay? Good boy, Fudge said. Good, good, good. As soon as my mother was gone, Fudge took off. Can't catch me, he hollered. Can't catch Fudgy. Go get him, Sheila, I said. You're in charge, remember? Me and Jimmy horsed around while Sheila ran after Fudge. When she caught him, we decided we'd better go to the playground like my mother said. It was a lot easier to keep an eye on him in a smaller place. Anyway, Fudge likes to climb on the jungle gym, and that way we can't lose him. As soon as we got to the playground, Sheila started chasing me. Peter's got cooties, Peter's got cooties, she yelled. Cut that out, I said. So she chased Jimmy. Jimmy's got cooties, Jimmy's got cooties. Me and Jimmy decided to fight back. So what if she is a girl? She started it. We grabbed her by the arms. She squirmed and tried to get away from us, but we wouldn't let her go. We hollered really loud, Sheila's got cooties, Sheila's got cooties. All three of us were so busy fooling around that we didn't notice Fudge up on the jungle gym until he called, Peter, Peter. That's how he says my name. What? I said. See, Fudgy flapped his arms. Fudgy's a birdie, Fudgy's a birdie. Fly, birdie, fly. That crazy kid, I thought, running into a jungle gym with Jimmy and Sheila right behind me. But it was too late. Fudge already found out he didn't have wings. He fell to the ground, and he was screaming and crying, and his face was a mess of blood. I couldn't even tell where the blood was coming from at first. Then Jimmy handed me his handkerchief. I don't know how clean it was, but it was better than nothing. I mopped off some blood from Fudge's face. Sheila cried, It wasn't my fault, honest, it wasn't. Oh, shut up, I told her. He's really a mess, Jimmy said, inspecting Fudge. And his teeth are gone, too. What are you talking about? I asked Jimmy. Look at his mouth, Jimmy said. Now, while he's screaming, see, he's got a big space where he used to have his front teeth. Oh, no, Sheila screamed. He's right. Fudgy's teeth are gone. Fudgy stopped crying for a minute. All gone, he asked. Open your mouth wide, I said. He did, and I looked in. It was true. His top 2 front teeth were missing. My mother's going to kill you, Sheila, I said. Was I glad I wasn't left in charge of my brother? Sheila cried louder. But it was an accident. He did it himself. Himself. You better find his teeth, I said. Where should I look? Sheila asked. On the ground, stupid. Sheila crawled around looking for Fudge's teeth while I tried to clean him up some more. See, Fudge, I said, showing me all his wounds. Boo-boo here, boo-boo, more boo-boo here. His knees and elbows were all scraped up. I'm going to get your mother, Jimmy hollered, running out of the playground. Good idea, I yelled. Honestly, Peter, there aren't any teeth here. All gone? Fudge asked again. Not all, I told him, just 2. Fudge started to scream. I want my teeth! I want my teeth! Jimmy must have met my mother on the way back to the park because it only took about 2 minutes for her to get there. By the time, the whole crowd of kids were gathering around us, and most of them were crawling on the ground like Sheila looking for Fudge's teeth. My mother picked up Fudge. Oh, my baby, my precious little love! She kissed him all over. Show Mommy where it hurts. Fudge showed her all his boo-boos. Then he said, All gone. What's all gone? His mother asked. His top 2 front teeth, I said. Oh, no, my mother cried. My poor little angel. Sheila sniffed and said, I just can't find them, Mrs. Hatcher. I looked everywhere, but Fudge's teeth are gone. He must have swallowed them, my mother said, looking into Fudge's mouth. "Oh, Mrs. Hatcher, how awful! I'm sorry. I'm really very sorry," Sheila cried. "What will happen to him?" "He'll be all right. He'll be all right, Sheila," my mother said. "I'm sure it was an accident. No one's blaming you." Sheila started bawling. My mother said, "Let's go home now." I thought my mother was being pretty easy on Sheila. After all, she was left in charge. When we got home, Mom watched Fudge's cuts and scrapes with peroxide. Then she called Dr. Cone. He told her to take Fudge to our dentist. So my mother called Dr. Brown's office to make an appointment for the next day. When that was done, she gave Fudge some socks to play with. I went to the kitchen to have a glass of juice. My mother followed me. "Peter Warren Hatcher," she said, "I'm sorry, I can't trust you for 10 minutes. "Me?" I said. "Trust me? What's this got to do with me?" Mother raised her voice. "I left your brother with you for 10 minutes, and just look at what happened. I'm disgusted with you." "It was Sheila's fault," I said. You said Sheila was in charge. So how come you're mad at me and not at Sheila?" "I just am," my mother shouted. I ran to my room and slammed the door. I watched Gribble walk around in his favorite rock. "My mother's the meanest mother in the whole world," I told my turtle. "She loves Fudge more than me. She doesn't even like me. Maybe I'm not her real son. Maybe somebody left me in a basket at the doorstep. My real mother's probably a beautiful princess. I'll bet she'd like to have me back. Nobody needs me around here, that's for sure." I didn't eat much supper that night, and I had a lot of trouble falling asleep. The next morning my mother came to my room and sat down on my bed, and I didn't look at her. "Peter," she said. I didn't answer. "Peter, I said some things yesterday that I didn't really mean." I looked at her. "Honest?" "Yes, you see, I was very upset over Fudge's accident, and I had to blame someone, so I picked you." "Yes," I said, "you sure did." "Well, it wasn't your fault. I know that. It was an accident. It could have happened even if I had been at the playground myself." "He wanted to fly," I said. "He thought he was a bird." "I don't think he'll try to fly again," my mother said. "Me neither," I told her. Then we both laughed, and I knew she was my real mother after all. The end.